You got a raise. Not a small one either, a real one. Maybe you switched jobs, maybe you finally asked, maybe you just grinded long enough that they had no choice. And for about 2 weeks it felt incredible. Then you checked your bank account. Same number, different month, different salary, same result. This isn't bad luck. It's not because you're irresponsible. It's not because of the economy, your landlord, or the price of eggs. Although sure, those don't help. It's because of something called the cash flow gap, the space between what you earn and what you actually keep. And until you understand that gap, every raise you ever get will disappear into it like it was never there. This is why you're always broke. Let's fix that. Here's the first problem. Most people think about money in terms of salary. I make X a year. Cool. That number means almost nothing on its own. What actually matters is your net cash flow. How much money enters your life versus how much leaves it every single month. Those are two completely different numbers. And for most people, the second one is embarrassingly close to zero, regardless of the first one. A guy making $40,000 a year who spends $35,000 is in better shape than a guy making $90,000 a year who spends $92,000. The first guy is building something. The second guy is slowly drowning in khakis and DoorDash fees. Income is not wealth. Cash flow is the game. Jake is 24. Jake just landed a job paying $58,000 a year. Jake is thrilled. Jake tells his friends. Jake buys a slightly nicer version of every single thing he already owned within 90 days. Jake is broke again. Jake is not an idiot. Jake is a case study. We'll come back to Jake. This is the villain of the story, and it operates invisibly. Lifestyle creep is what happens when your spending automatically rises to match your income, or occasionally surpass it. You earn more, so you move to a nicer apartment. You move to a nicer apartment, so you need nicer furniture. You have nicer furniture, so you start hosting people, which means you need food and drinks and a TV that doesn't embarrass you. None of these decisions feel crazy in the moment. Each one feels earned. Each one is a small, reasonable upgrade. But they stack. They always stack. And here's the brutal part. Most of them are permanent. You don't downgrade your apartment when you have a bad month. You don't return the couch. The spending locked in. The income didn't. Jake, by the way, upgraded to a $1,400 per month apartment when he could have stayed at $950. He figured he deserved it. He was right that he could afford it. He was wrong about what that decision would cost him over the next 3 years. Quick concept, important one. Your expenses fall into 2 buckets. Fixed costs are the ones that hit every month no matter what. Rent, car payment, insurance, phone bill, subscriptions you forgot you had. These don't care how your month went. Variable costs move around. Food, entertainment, gas, going out. These are the ones you feel like you can control, and technically you can, but most people don't actually track them, so they don't. Here's the problem with fixed costs specifically. Every time you upgrade a fixed cost, new apartment, financed car, new phone plan, you permanently raise the floor of what you need to survive each month. Your baseline cost of living goes up, and it almost never comes back down. Jake's fixed costs after his raise: rent, car payment on a used Honda he financed, phone upgrade, a gym membership he uses twice a week, Spotify, Netflix, YouTube Premium, and an Xbox Game Pass subscription he keeps meaning to cancel. Monthly fixed costs around $2,600 before he's bought a single meal. Let's do the actual numbers on what a raise is worth. Jake went from $48,000 to $58,000. That's $10,000 more a year. Sounds like a lot. After federal income tax, state tax depending on where he lives, and payroll taxes like Social Security and Medicare, he's taking home somewhere around $600 to $650 extra per month. The exact number varies by state, but ballpark, that's the range. $600 a month, that's the real raise. Jake responded by increasing his fixed costs by $450 a month. New apartment difference, car payment, upgraded phone plan. He has $150 to $200 of actual new breathing room. He feels rich. He has the financial buffer of a parking ticket. Here's the psychology piece, and this one matters. Humans are terrible at evaluating relative versus absolute value. When Jake was making $48,000, a $200 dinner felt extravagant. After the raise, it feels fine. He's making more. He can handle it. But that $200 costs the same number of dollars it always did. The dinner didn't change. Jake's perception changed. Behavioral economists call this hedonic adaptation, the tendency to return to a baseline level of satisfaction regardless of what happens to you, good or bad. You get the raise. You feel amazing for 2 weeks. You adapt. The new normal sets in. The dopamine wears off. Now you're used to the $1,400 apartment, and it doesn't feel like a luxury anymore. It just feels like where you live. So you start looking for the next upgrade. This cycle doesn't stop automatically. You have to interrupt it deliberately. Let's actually look at where Jake's money goes. Gross salary, $58,000 a year. Take home after taxes, roughly $3,800 a month depending on his state and deductions. Let's use that. Fixed costs, $2,600. That's rent, car, phone, subscriptions, gym. That leaves $1,200 for everything else. Food. Jake spends maybe $400 a month. Some grocery runs, some cooking, a lot of Jake ordering Chipotle at 11 p.m. because he didn't plan his week. Going out, entertainment, random purchases. Another $400 to $500 if he's being honest. A concert ticket here, new shoes there, a weekend trip someone invited him on. We're now at $3,500 to $3,600 out of $3,800. Jake is saving somewhere between $200 and $300 a month if nothing unexpected happens. Something unexpected happens every month. Jake has basically zero savings buffer. Jake is one car repair away from putting something on a credit card. Jake makes $58,000 a year. Here's the one nobody talks about. There are expenses that don't show up in your monthly budget that will absolutely destroy it when they arrive. Car registration, annual subscriptions that bill once a year, dentist visit, someone's wedding you have to fly to, Christmas, your laptop dying. These aren't emergencies, they're predictable, irregular expenses. Things that don't happen every month but definitely happen every year. Most people treat them like surprises. They're not. You knew your registration was coming, you knew your friend was getting married, you knew your laptop was 6 years old, but because they're not on the monthly radar, the money isn't there when they land. So they go on a card, and the card charges interest. And now a $300 car registration is quietly costing you $380. The fix is boring but real. Take your annual irregular expenses, add them up, divide by 12, and treat that number like a fixed monthly cost. Set it aside. Don't touch it. Jake has never done this. Jake is always surprised by things that were never actually surprising. Let's talk about how this whole thing gets worse. When cash flow is tight, which it is for Jake, even at $58,000. A credit card becomes a behavioral escape valve. Short on cash? Card. Unexpected expense? Card. Night out you couldn't technically afford? Card. The problem isn't the card. The card is neutral. The problem is the minimum payment trap. Credit cards are designed to keep balances alive as long as possible. The minimum payment on a $2,000 balance might be $40 a month. That sounds manageable. It is not manageable. At a typical credit card, APR, paying only the minimum means you're paying primarily interest, and that balance barely moves. You end up paying significantly more than the original purchase price over time. The exact math depends on your rate and minimum payment, but the principle is consistent and well documented. Charge $2,000, pay minimums, pay back well over $2,000 before it's done. Jake has $1,400 on a card from a trip 6 months ago. He pays the minimum every month and tells himself he'll pay it off when things calm down. Things do not calm down for Jake. Let's name it clearly. The reason you're always broke isn't income. For most people in their 20s and early 30s with a stable job, the income is workable. The reason is the gap between what you earn and what you automatically spend, and the fact that most people have never consciously designed that gap. Your spending has a default setting, and the default setting, left unmanaged, will expand to consume whatever you make. Every time, at every income level. This is not a new observation. It's been documented in behavioral economics for decades. It happens to people making $35,000. It happens to people making $350,000. Lottery winners, pro athletes, people who get massive inheritances. The pattern is consistent when spending isn't deliberately managed. The income changes, the gap stays the same, you stay broke. Now we get to the part Jake needs. There are 3 structural fixes that actually move the needle. Not motivational advice, not cut your coffee. Structural changes that work even when your willpower doesn't. Fix 1, pay yourself first, automatically. This one phrase has more research behind it than almost anything else in personal finance. The concept is dead simple. Before you spend a single dollar on anything, move a percentage of your paycheck directly into savings or investments, automatically, through direct deposit or auto transfer, not whatever's left at the end of the month. First, before. Why does this work when budgeting often doesn't? Because you're removing the decision entirely. The money is gone before you can spend it. You adapt to the lower number in your checking account. Lifestyle adjusts to what's available. Even a small percentage, say 10% of take-home, starts building a buffer that fundamentally changes how stable your finances feel. Over time, you increase the percentage. Jake, if he auto-transferred $380 a month, 10% of his $3,800 take-home would have over $4,500 saved in a year without ever feeling like he made a sacrifice. He hasn't done this. Fix 2. Freeze your lifestyle when your income increases. This is the direct counter to lifestyle creep, and it requires exactly one decision made at one specific moment. When you get a raise, when money increases for any reason, commit in advance to not upgrading your fixed costs. Keep the apartment, keep the car, keep the phone plan. Take the entire increase and root it somewhere with a purpose. Savings, paying down debt, investing. Do it before you've had time to think about what you could upgrade. The goal is to let the gap between your income and your spending widen over time, rather than staying permanently flat. Jake, when he got that raise, had a 2-week window where he could have redirected $600 a month toward his financial life. He used it to sign a new lease instead. That decision will compound negatively for as long as he stays in that apartment. Fix 3. Calculate your real hourly rate. This one changes how you see purchases. Take your take-home monthly income. Divide it by the number of hours you work per month. That's your real hourly rate. What 1 hour of your time actually produces after taxes. For Jake, $3,800 divided by roughly 170 working hours a month is about $22 per hour. Now, when Jake sees something he wants to buy, he translates it into hours of work. That $220 jacket, 10 hours of work. That weekend trip, probably 30 hours. This doesn't mean don't spend money. It means spend it consciously. The purchase might still be worth it, but at least it's a decision, not a reflex. Let's fast forward Jake 6 months. He didn't change anything. Still in the $1,400 apartment. Still has the car payment. The card balance grew slightly. He got a small end-of-year bonus. Took a trip, came back with approximately what he started with. He makes $58,000 a year. He has about $800 in savings and $1,700 in credit card debt. Now let's imagine Jake made 2 changes at the start. He stayed in the $950 apartment. That's $450 a month back. He auto-transferred $400 a month into savings the moment he got the raise. 6 months in, $2,400 saved, no new debt, $450 per month still building. Same job, same city, same person, different outcome. Entirely because of where the money went before he had a chance to spend it. Here's something worth sitting with. The entire consumer economy is engineered to close that gap for you. Every ad you see is optimizing for one outcome, getting you to spend the money you just earned as fast as possible. Subscriptions are designed for automatic renewal. Financing exists to let you buy things you can't afford today. Credit cards make spending feel painless in the moment. None of this is a conspiracy, it's just business. But it means the default path, the one you're on if you don't consciously design your finances, is one where other people's systems are deciding where your money goes. The apartment complex wants the upgrade. The dealership wants the financed car. The streaming services want all 5 subscriptions. You want the gap, because the gap, the space between what you earn and what you spend, is where every good financial outcome lives. Emergency funds, investments, options, the ability to say no to a bad job, the ability to take a risk, the ability to not panic when your car needs a repair. The gap is the whole game. Okay, here's everything. Income and wealth are not the same thing. Cash flow, what you keep, is what actually matters. Lifestyle creep silently raises your spending every time your income rises. Fixed costs are the most dangerous because they lock in permanently. A raise is worth much less than it looks like after taxes. Hedonic adaptation means the good feeling from earning more wears off fast. Predictable, irregular expenses destroy most budgets because people treat them as surprises. Credit card minimums are designed to keep you paying for years. The real problem is that spending has a default setting, and the default setting is consume everything. Fix 1. Pay yourself first, automatically, before you touch anything else. Fix 2. Freeze your lifestyle the moment your income increases. Fix 3. Convert purchases to hours of your time before deciding. The gap between earning and spending is the entire game. Jake is still in that apartment. Don't be Jake. You don't need to earn more to fix this. You need to stop letting the system automatically close the gap the moment it opens. Every raise, every bonus, every side income, there's a 2-week window where you can route it toward your financial life before lifestyle creep absorbs it permanently. That window is the whole opportunity. Most people miss it every single time. If this video made you do the math on your own take home and feel some type of way, that's the point. Hit subscribe. Next video, we're going after your credit score, what it actually is, who profits from it, and why your bank's free credit monitoring is the funniest joke in finance. Leave a comment with your Jake number. How much do you think lifestyle creep has quietly added to your monthly fixed costs since your last raise? Let's see how honest people actually are. See you there.